Hey, how's it going? It's Ollie here. So today we're going to talk about why, as an Amazon seller, you should always start small. Right? Before you go out there and order loads of stock, why you should always test in a small, safe environment first. So, I'm going to start off with a story. Right? One time I was talking on the phone to someone who was interested in getting some coaching from me. This was a few months ago now. It was earlier this year. And they were telling me about their goals and everything and kind of business they wanted to build. And I asked them, okay, so you have these goals, you want to build this business, and the goals were lofty, it was very ambitious. And I asked them, how far have you got so far? You know, how many sales have you made? I was expecting this person to say something like, oh, you know, I've set up my Amazon account, I've done a bit of research, and I found a few products. All right, I don't know what to launch yet. Right? Beginner stage stuff. They turned around and said to me, oh, currently we're doing £1.2 million a year in revenue across Europe. And obviously, naturally, my reaction was, well, you're doing pretty well. Right? You can't complain. I was blown away. It was incredible. And yet, when he asked what should my next step be when growing this business, my advice to him was you should do a test batch. Even though he'd done 1.2 million in sales, I still advised his next step to be keep testing, test new niches, test new products. Even though he had loads of capital in the bank from all the profit he'd made, still needs to test. So the point is, starting small and buying small amounts of stock is not just associated with new sellers. It's not, like I don't have any faith in you and I just want you to not lose any money. It's a fundamental skill for business owners at any level, right? So why? Why do I recommend everybody test no matter what level you're at? Well, here's the thing. Have you ever bought like a cleaning product to use on maybe a carpet or a sofa or maybe a surface like a desk or kitchen surface? Have you ever noticed that on the bottom of the product, the can or whatever, there's usually a label that says something like, warning, please test this cleaning product in a very small, hidden area of the surface before applying to the whole surface, right? And obviously the reason they're doing this is because if you just, pour the product all over the thing you want to clean, it could all completely change color, it could have a bad reaction, it could damage the surface, and obviously customers are going to be really annoyed if that happens to them. They'll ask for a refund. Right, so you want to test in a very small, safe environment first where there's less consequences before using the cleaning product on the whole thing. Well, it's exactly the same when you launch a product into a new niche on Amazon. We want to test in a small, safe environment before risking loads of money on stock. So, what is testing? What does it really mean and how do you do it efficiently? Well, really what we're doing when we're testing a product is we're validating an idea. Right? We're validating an idea. Now on Amazon, when you have a niche that you've analyzed with Jungle Scout or you've used some software to have a look at it, the demand is high, the competition is low, right? That it's not going to be too much hassle, and you've done all the theory and got all the data to make an educated guess that this is going to be a good niche. Really what that is an idea for a product. And historically, what's been the sensible approach when you have any business idea is to validate it first before going out there and getting a bank loan or whatever it is you do to get the business started, right? Idea validation has been going on for years, so this testing thing really isn't anything new. In fact, the way people used to test products is by doing something called dry testing. And what this was is you would put an advert in a newspaper, right? And you would say that you have a product that's for sale, even though you haven't created or even invented it yet. You just describe exactly what the product is. Maybe put a picture and then put a phone number. Run the ad, and if you get loads of calls from people who are inquiring about the product, then this proves that there's demand, people want to buy it, and therefore you validated the product idea, right? There's a demand for the product. So then you go out and you make the product, you put the ad out again, and now you actually sell the product to the customers who call you. So this has been going on for ages. And now what we're doing is we're just taking this concept of validating something and we're putting it into the context of Amazon. Now, if you don't validate stuff, things can go horribly wrong, right? Even if you have used Jungle Scout to do your analysis, you've looked at the levels of demand, you've followed a course or whatever it is, things can go horribly wrong because there's so many variables when you launch a product that actually, even if you've done all your research properly, it's just not a great idea to order 500 or 1,000 units straight away, right? In my experience, I've had products where I launched them and the niche looks amazing, the demand looks really good, there's not much competition, the product looks like low hassle. I've placed the order and all the products broke in shipping. Like 60% of the products broke in shipping. Thankfully, I only ordered 100 and they were relatively cheap. But if I'd ordered 500 or 1,000, this could have been problematic, right? And it was an issue with the supplier. So when you're testing a product, you're not just testing if it's going to sell, you're testing out your supplier as well. I've had other examples where I think I can charge a certain amount for a product that I'm offering, right? I offer a new design to the market that's never been seen before. I think customers are going to love it. I think I can charge a load, £19.99, £25 or whatever. Sell the products, and I realised the highest people are going to pay is £15. And for that particular product, I wasn't able to make profit charging £15. It's just the numbers, I can't make it work. So with a test batch, you can figure this stuff out first, right? You can understand the price customers are going to pay. You can figure out if the product's going to be easy to ship. All these things can be figured out in a test batch. So what's the best way to do it? What's the best way to attack a test batch to ensure you're definitely going to get a good result? Well, what I like to do is I like to brainstorm ways to add value to the marketplace, right? In other words, I want to try and see what customers are looking for with this product that's missing. Right now, we have the best access to what people are thinking that's ever existed. All right, back in, say, I don't know, even just 20 years ago, you'd probably have to pay a company to do market research for you to gather the kind of data we have today, and it wouldn't be anywhere near what we have access to. Right now, with things like reviews, social media, forums, all the stuff on the internet, YouTube comments, you can see exactly what people are thinking. Like, people will just projectile vomit all of their thoughts onto the internet, and they can tell you what they want, what they wish the product had, what's bad about the product, what they use the product for. You name it, these customers are telling you what you need to hear. So what I like to do is brainstorm ways to match what the customer wants, right? The desires they have, the things that are wrong with the product, the stuff they want to use the product for, stuff they wish the product did, the desires of the customer, with the stuff I can actually source. Because these two things don't always overlap. Customer might want a frying pan to walk into the kitchen, take a few eggs out of the fridge, cook the omelette for them, and wash itself and put itself back into the cupboard. But I don't think I'm going to be able to offer a frying pan that actually does that. However, if a customer wants a frying pan that works with an induction hob but looks a certain way, now all of a sudden there might be an overlap, and I could source something like that that's what the customer wants, and it's sourceable. So what you do is you get all the desires, get all the stuff you can source, and then brainstorm ways that you could offer something to the marketplace that could connect with the customer. If you can do that, you can charge more than everybody else. Your product will sell for a long time, you'll get great reviews, and you'll win. And the test batch will prove that you're on the right track because people will buy the product, right? What I like to do actually, once I've brainstormed value and I understand exactly what the customers want and what I can source, is I won't just test one way of adding value. What I usually do is test multiple ways of adding value. So let's say I might think this frying pan that works with an induction hob that looks a certain way I think it's going to work for the customers. I won't just source, say, one color. I'll source maybe 3 different colors of this saucepan because I don't know which one is going to be better, right? I'll source 3 colors, or maybe I'll source 3 different styles or looks. Maybe a vintage one, a modern one, and a basic classic looking one. See which one sells the best. And then when you're doing your test batch, now you're not just testing the product, you're not just testing the supplier and the customers. What you're testing is the angle or the type of value that the customers are going to respond to. If the white saucepan sells the fastest, then it's probably a good idea you should order more of those rather than the ones that sell slower. So you can use test batches creatively to get as much data as possible, solid real life data, not just theory from looking at software, before you go ahead and place a bigger order. So now we know why you want to start small. We know about validating the idea and what can go wrong if you don't do that. We know how to do a test batch effectively by brainstorming value. And we understand how to test the value by offering different angles to the marketplace. So how do you know when a test batch has gone well? As in, it's proven that your product is going to work. Well, there's a few indications. Now, one thing you need to remember with a test batch is it's always going to be less effective than a big launch, right? Because again, you're testing on a very small scale. You don't have a brand yet in most cases. Probably shouldn't build a brand yet until you know the product's going to sell, right? You don't have reviews on the listing. You've got 0 reviews. You don't have any momentum with the marketing. You're not going to get organic sales or anything. You're just relying on the advertising. So at this point, really any sales is a very, very good sign. Even if you get barely any sales, it's a very, very good sign that your product is going to sell well. So that's a win. If you sell anything at all, that's a win. If you get multiple sales in a day, that's a bigger win. Like I've helped clients launch test batches. They've done 50 sales in a week, and that's an extremely good sign you've got a product with good demand and you should order more. Another thing that indicates a win is being able to charge a decent price for the product. Right? If you need to charge £20 in order to make profit when you order 500 units of the product, and your customers are willing to pay up to £25, wow, all of a sudden you've proven if you do order 500 units, you will make profit. Because the customers will pay the price you need them to pay to make a profit. Right? So these are the things that will help you know if the product's working or not. Don't go in there expecting to make 5 to 10 sales a day. I mean, it does happen sometimes, but with a test batch, you just don't have enough time to do a proper launch. By the time you've got a bit of momentum, you'll run out of stock. And you need to wait until you've got more stock shipped into the warehouse to do a proper launch. Right? But if you make 1, 2 sales a day, if the customers are paying a decent price, then it's a very, very good chance your product will sell. All right. This is a video on why you should start small. If you want to get some help or just want to learn more really about the whole process of building an Amazon business, click one of the links in the description. There's a link where you can actually book a call with my team. And we'll go through your goals, ask you a few questions about what kind of business you want to build, and together we'll come up with a plan for how to build that business, and you'll get clarity on that call so you know exactly what steps to take next to hit your goals. At the end of the day, one of the things that stops people from hitting their goals is information overload. You watch a lot of videos like this, listen to podcasts, read blog posts. By the end of it, you just feel more confused than you did at the start. So sometimes just having a chat with someone who can diagnose your problem, kind of like a doctor, right? Ask the symptoms, put them in order, and then say, this is what you have to do. Sometimes that can really help you move along faster. And if you want some help, we can offer you help as well. So click the link in the description, fill out a little application form, takes a couple seconds, and let's have a chat. All right, thanks so much for watching. Hit subscribe if you haven't done already, and we'll catch up soon.